But here in Kilkenny, floods are no occasional thing. Several times each year, whole sections of the city around the Black Mill and Irish Town area go under a few feet of water. The cause, the aptly named Brega River, the False River. For this timid-looking stream suddenly swells into a torrent if it rains constantly for a few hours. Water from a 25-square-mile catchment area drains into it, and when the level rises, it becomes too much for the bridges which span the river. They are too small and hold back the water so that it flows over the riverbanks and through the town. And as if that were not bad enough, the Nore also runs through Kilkenny, and it has flooded in recent times, leaving behind thousands of pounds worth of damage. It swamped the town in 47, 58, and again this Christmas. It's the responsibility of Kilkenny Corporation to do something about the Brega. They've had various plans for it over the year, but nothing was done. The Nore is the problem of the Board of Works. They are to begin a drainage survey in a few months. But the survey alone will perhaps take a few years, and only then can the actual digging begin. But the people of Kilkenny have now run out of patience. In the last flood, water lapped around their upstairs window, and the pews floated around the historic Black Abbey. Its prior, Father Mark Healy, has spoken out strongly on the problem.
The Abbey has been flooded now 5 times in the 3 years that I've been in Kilkenny alone. Some of these would be looked on as minor floods, if there's such a thing, which I don't believe. That means that the water comes up through the floor of the Abbey. It doesn't pour in from outside, it comes up through the floor of the Abbey because there are underground springs and under the Abbey, and these can't escape into the Brega. It forces its way up through the floor. I think this must inevitably undermine the foundations of the Abbey, and a building which has stood for 744 years could easily fall. I should imagine, anyway.
You have many very, very valuable books here. Were these endangered?
They're always endangered by a serious flood. You mentioned valuable books. Just behind us here at this very moment, there is a book which is the oldest printed book in the British Isles. It's invaluable. This library was flooded to a height of nearly 5 feet in the 47 flood. So any of these objects are in constant danger.
Yes. Do you now accept that the corporation is getting on with the job?
I presume I must accept that they mean well and that they have goodwill. But candidly, I'll believe it as soon as the work begins, because certainly the history behind this is anything but encouraging.
But are you really being fair about this, Father? After all, the corporation has come up with a scheme and they now appear to be getting on with the job. Would it not be best to leave them alone for a while?
Oh, by all means, we give them every chance to get on with it, but it's not quite true to say that they come up with a scheme now. This scheme has been in existence for a number of years, and they tell us it's starting now in spring. Well, we hope so.
You don't accept that they'll even now get on with it?
I accept, yes. I believe now they mean business. But it's peculiar that they haven't meant business until now.
The people of the flooded areas have called a public meeting and banded themselves into an association which is to keep after the corporation until its present plan for the Brega is put through. An angry Mr. Dennis Gorey, one of the association's leaders, just doesn't believe that the corporation have treated the problem as urgently as it might have done.
They haven't been sufficiently concerned about it, not at all. Because when you bear in mind that people in this area have been flooded 2 and 3 times a year for the last 20 years, it's not fair to say there was nothing done about it. If they were concerned, they'd certainly have done something about it.
But the people themselves don't appear to have done very much either. It's only now that you're protesting.
Granted, that is right. And I think that if the people had to protest long ago and had to organise, that they would find today that they wouldn't be in the position they are. There would have been something done to alleviate this flooding. Now, in the past 21 years, in the catchment area of both the River Brega and the River Nore, which floods this area, there have been a lot of drainage, arterial drainage, and there has been nothing done from the estuary of the river up to take the water which comes more quickly onto the river now.
But what do you want them to do?
We wanted them to start at the mouth of the river and go back up and clear away all the obstacles. There's several obstacles there. If you go down at the back of the mill, Dalton's Mill, there's 3 feet of a sewerage pipe crossing the river there, and there's only 2 feet of underneath which the water can get away, and it has to rise the other 5 feet before it actually can flow over that pipe. Now, above the Black Abbey bridge here in Black Mill, there was a footbridge constructed by a project of the corporation some years back, say 14 or 15 years, I think. And that footbridge has only two eyes in it, which are 6 feet by 3, and they couldn't possibly take in the flood waters that come down from the Brega River. Now, there are several old weirs down the river too, which doesn't come into the first scheme that has been visualised here, that we think should be done away with. And if it's not possible legally to do away with them, I can see another Nelson's Pillars effort being done here in Kilkenny.
But the corporation has been having its problems. They say they couldn't do anything with the river because of some people's water rights, which they legally couldn't ignore. The Mayor, Mr. John Holohan, defends the corporation and claims that immediately the legal problems were removed a few months ago, the drainage scheme was put through for sanctioning.
In 1961 rather, we were informed by the Department of Local Government that if we went ahead with the full drainage of the Brega, that it would affect the lower stretches of the river below Kilkenny city, and that we would be liable for damages. So at that stage we decided we would only go ahead with the portion of the River Brega lying within the city area. Now, you might say that it is slow that we haven't done that. But there were certain difficulties in the way. One passage of water had to be eliminated. It belonged to a concern in this town, which is the brewery, which is of great benefit to this town. It gives terrific employment, and they were agreeable at all stages to cooperate with the Kilkenny Corporation in this matter. However, it wasn't until last June, I think, that this matter was finalised. We prepared plans, and the plans for one portion of the draining of the Brega was sent to the department December last. Now, let me say this, that particular plan will not alleviate conditions there. It will not prevent flooding in the Brega area while the Nore is in flood. Now, this scheme will have this advantage, that the flood waters at that stage will be gone 4 to 6, maybe 8 hours before the Nore comes into flood. So it will help in that way.
Frankly, Mr. Holohan, there is a feeling here that this plan has been pulled out of the bag to keep the protesters happy for the moment, and it'll just go back on the shelf now.
There isn't any question of it going back on the shelf at all. As I said before, we got the okay as far as the development is concerned last June. The plans were in the department in December. We are quite certain, we have assurances, that we will have sanction for this plan, the first half of the plan, very soon. And not alone that, but we are prepared to finance this first plan from local resources. So there isn't any question of it being put on the long finger. It will certainly, in my opinion, be finished before the summer.